As Isaac entered the basement, he found his way to the cursed room. Inside lay his inner demon, which he was forced to fight. The inner demon even managed to hurt him once, but it was not successful in killing him. With Rasputin, he found a treasure room, and as Mom's bra was an item that brought him many bad memories from his past, he decided to reroll it. He entered the boss room and violently beat the giant worm as the entrance to the devil opened. Inside, Krampus slide to punish him for his sins. Isaac was successful in overcoming this challenge, and on the second floor, he fought through the hordes of enemies as he found the Two of Diamonds card. He also found the blank rune which he used to duplicate the original card. Suddenly, an entrance in the wall appeared, and he was forced to investigate it. Inside, he found a sack of pennies. With his newfound wealth, he entered the shop where he purchased the steam sail. Prepared, he entered the third floor to face the perils of danger that lie beyond. Greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Isaac. You notice that the first skit was kind of a bit different than usual, and what happened is I started playing the game, the daily, I checked out to see how my recording is going, and then I saw, oh wait, I'm not recording at all. So what I did is after I finished my original run, so what you're seeing right now is my original run when I started recording, I went back into the practice mode, did my first 2 floors again, and actually put them at the start of the video. But instead of just putting them like I normally would, just putting a run out there, what I did is I actually took some creative license there. I had a little bit of fun and kind of created that little skit with narration that's going on. I don't know if it worked, maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but at least I hope you can appreciate it. I was just having a little bit of fun with creating it. So with that said, it was a special daily. It was quite unique in a few ways. So we started out with the lump of coal and the mitre, which are both excellent items in my opinion. The mitre is obviously very good because it just generates a lot of soul hearts for us. And the lump of coal is an item that's one of my favorites. Basically, the farther the enemies are away from you, or the more time that they spends in the air, the more damage it deals. And that's very useful in a lot of situations, and I think it forces you to kind of play just a little bit differently. You might be wondering, okay, so, but why are we getting the lump of coal at the start, you know? Well, first of all, this is in a celebration of a holiday, I think in Germany or something like that, that celebrates, not really celebrates, maybe it does celebrate, but it has something to do with Krampus. And because I guess Isaac wasn't that good of a boy because he's kind of exploding little enemies and poops and just things in general, I don't think that puts you on the Santa's good list. So for that reason, I think that's why we got the lump of coal. But surprisingly, maybe a unique thing that doesn't happen unless it's seeded is the first floor also contained the deal with the devil, and it contained the Krampus. And this is obviously kind of intentional. It's not an accident because we have the lump of coal. Maybe there's a higher chance of us getting the devil deal on the first floor. This is obviously something that was patched in, or maybe, like I said, seeded in advance. That we got it, and when we actually entered the devil deal, there was Krampus inside, and we got yet another lump of coal. I picked it up thinking that maybe it synergizes if we have 2 lump of coals, but I don't think it does. I just picked it up maybe for the hell of it, and I think Isaac was kind of bad enough to deserve 2 lump of coals at the same time. I know technically it isn't Isaac's fault because his mom is the one being kind of mean, but at the same time, you know, we are shooting bombs out of our eyes, and I think I don't think that's too healthy, just in general. But yeah, we did pick up the Dr. Fetus at one point in this run. So what happened is, because we had a D6 as Isaac, we obviously had a lot of chances to reroll, and as any Isaac run, there is a lot of variance involved. And with the decisions I made, I kind of decided to reroll the Bob's Brain on the 3rd floor into Dr. Fetus, and I even picked it up. What kind of forced me to take Dr. Fetus is, I would, if I had kept the D6, I wouldn't have actually taken. So we got the Forget Me Now, and the Forget Me Now is an item that is very useful in dailies because it does allow you to restart one floor and kind of do it again. And when you do that, you can actually get all the score you would normally get for just beating a regular floor, which is not too bad. But the fact we had the D6, it made the decision kind of difficult, just because I didn't really want to give it up for just I don't know, a few hundred points, and the D6 obviously would allow us to just become absurdly strong at some point, just because eventually we would get some good items out of it. But still, I decided to go for the score, which is maybe a little bit of a mistake, and I decided to ditch it. But at the same time, my run wasn't really very strong, so when I rerolled it and I saw Dr. Fetus, I thought that was a great opportunity, because I don't really need any other items other than Dr. Fetus to really feel comfortable in my run. So, but then I decided that I would ditch the D6 and pick up the Forget-Me-Now, just because I did get the Dr. Fetus, and getting kind of the Forget-Me-Now and Dr. Fetus at the same time kind of forced me not forced me, but made my decision a bit easier to pick up both of them, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. But basically I felt strong enough that I didn't have to pick up the D6. So when I picked up Dr. Fetus, because I think Dr. Fetus thankfully is a good enough item, at least in this iteration of the game, that we are kind of able to beat a lot of enemies with it. And obviously it's a good item, I think, because it doesn't give you an infinite amount of bombs, which means you can find the secret rooms, second secret rooms, you can destroy rocks, find a lot of crawl spaces if you're kind of lucky. Also, it's good against enemies in general. It one-shots most enemies. Of course, it deals AoE damage, and it kind of deals okay with bosses, and it scales amazingly with damage. I think any damage up you get, it will increase the damage of your bombs by quite a significant amount. With all of that said, with the strategy I was talking about, I even ditched the Forget-Me-Now, and because this run was kind of going in a silly direction, we even got the Mega Blast, which is obviously one of the strongest item in the game. I guess not really maybe the strongest, but definitely the flashiest, the most potent item in the game that kind of is able to deal with enemies. It has a 12-room charge, which is just unheard of, because having an item with so many charges usually means you have to complete the whole floor in order to actually charge it up back again. But even then, sometimes it's not enough, even with those longer floors, just because there are also rooms which don't contain any enemies. And because, of course, this run was going in a very silly direction, I did kind of waste my opportunity to pick up points. I even decided to reroll with the D4 once, so I would feel comfortable fighting the Hush with just my regular Dr. Fetus bombs. But I said, okay, I don't want people to call me a pansy when there's a D4 and I don't reroll at least once in a while. So what I decided to do is actually rerolled first before fighting Hush, and then I picked up my Mega Blast to go into it. And I'm hoping to use my Mega Blast at some point in the future. We actually start spawning a lot of enemies, so hopefully I can also deal a lot of damage to him, and also kill all the enemies that spawns kind of fast. And that's exactly what I did. And thankfully, because we have rubber cement, the blast kind of bounces back, and I think it does yet another kind of shot of damage. I'm not too sure if it does, but I'm inclined to believe that we did actually do double damage to him. And with that said, he actually, or Harsh, died very fast, which was one of the greatest maybe moments of this daily. And I decided to stick with the D4 instead of the Mega Blast. Even though Mega Blast is a fun item, it's not very interactive, or how I would say, because it's just, use it and try to visit as many rooms with it, kind of position yourself. It's kind of hard to control. It looks super cool, of course, but I don't think it's that fun maybe to use. And because it's been some time before actually, since I've started kind of rerolling myself infinitely many times, I decided that maybe this would be a good time to stick with my D4. There was actually quite a lot of decisions that went into this run, and I think if I kind of stuck with the Forget-Me-Now, that would definitely kind of net me the most amount of points. I think this run was going in the right direction at the start, but just because everything happened what happened, it just kind of made it a bit more absurd and silly than maybe it had the right to be. But with that said, just because we did reroll a lot of times, I also had enough health to actually visit the sacrifice room and sacrifice myself there just a bunch of times to hopefully visit the dark room. And obviously when we visit the dark room, we're also going to get just a bunch of points. I'm kind of collecting hearts here in order to kind of preserve myself. I'm not really in too much of a worry, just because I do have 8 shots, homing shots with the tech hex, and I'm dealing just immense amount of damages. I also think I have chocolate milk, so whenever you have the D4, you kind of encounter these crazy synergies. You don't really want to reroll, but at the same time, you kind of want to reroll so you can see what else lies beyond, so you can hopefully kind of take advantage of that. And yeah, this daily turned out super silly. It really was a special daily, at least for me, because I kind of forgot that I was playing a daily and I just enjoyed the game for what it is. And I really like that there's this mix of dailies which are super hard and super absurd, and I really felt like the last few dailies were in the Isaac spirit I know and love. Just a lot of crazy combinations that worked out in a way that you wouldn't expect them to work out. And with that said, I actually got an amazing, not an amazing, but I think a very fun synergy with items. And my guess is here, I got the Epic Fetus, obviously, I got something like Quad Shot, I also think I got the Whiz, but that's the transformation. So the conjoined transformation, which gives me 2 more shots. Obviously I have the mom's knife, and I think I also have the tiny planet, which makes the knives orbit around, and I think it creates a really cool effect. And when I actually used it a few times, just because I thought it looked mesmerizing, I also noticed I have the bombs when they explode, which give you consumables, the glitter bombs. And because it does synergize with any explosion effect, so including Epic Fetus, I actually decided that I would keep doing it and keep kind of bombing it until I would have 50 keys, so then I could duplicate it with 2 of spades. And that goes on for maybe another minute, at least in game time, which is the opportunity I would like to take to kind of talk about breaking. And breaking does come up often, and I think it's a very vital part of the game, especially in daily runs, because breaking does require you to kind of know the game in and out and which synergies you can take advantage of in order to get the maximum amount of score, and I think that's healthy for the game. But I think the amount of points you can amass by just collecting consumables is just a bit too high. I think if there was maybe a smaller cap on it, it would make things just a bit more fair, and I think also that there should be some sort of a cap of exploring multiple floors, because I think those problems are kind of tied together. So how many floors you can pick up and how many consumables you pick up, because the more floors you have, the more chances you get at basically having or finding the items that allow you to break the game. So if there was maybe a way to kind of constrict both of those variables, I think it would make for a more engaging, fun experience of daily runs. And I'm not saying that the daily runs aren't healthy or daily, but I think we can all agree, at least all of those who play them somewhat regularly, that kind of slaving away doing this almost every daily or maybe every other daily whenever trying to play the game in order to get the max amount of points, while it's worth it points wise, it's just not very interactive and fun. And if there was a way to kind of alleviate that, I think that would be better for just maybe the overall health of the game. And of course I quit as I have every consumable, as I have 99 of every consumable. I don't bother with kind of picking up more of that, just because I think this looks nice as it is. We have 12 red hearts, we have the full charge on our D4, we have 99 of every consumable, and if that's not a good point to end the run, I don't know what is. So we did finish the run in 154th, which is not that high, but I did miss boss rush. If I just beat Mom just 20 seconds earlier, or maybe if it wasn't Red Mom, having Red Mom kind of screwed me over because it's hard to use your orbital effectively, we would get the Mega Blast, and Mega Blast is obviously very, very good whenever you're fighting the boss rush, just because you can use it and it kind of kills 3 waves for you. Sure, maybe you need to kill 2 waves yourself, but then you can use it again, and then it does just a lot of work and a lot of damage. You don't really have to worry about it. So that was kind of a bummer. So that's kind of 4,000 points wasted. So we would be maybe at 43,000, and maybe if I decide to stick with Forget Me Now, we would be able to climb to like 45,000. And of course, if I wasn't being silly, I wouldn't take this much damage as well, so our score would be even higher. But you know, sometimes it's more to just have fun, and I think that's exactly what happened in this daily. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.